To start breaking down your opponent's offense from either game film or from a live game, you'll need to start by going to the top left below the File menu and select the icon that looks like a football grid for a new game. Enter in the game data, your home team, the opponent, the date, the time, the city, the state, and the conditions. That will take you to the new game window. So we can now start entering play-by-play into the grid, new rows or new downs of data. And you do that by moving to the top right, left up here, and you'll have these three icons. And you've got the add a new down, inserted down between any of the rows, or deleted down, any selected down that you have in the grid. So we'll start the first play by adding a new down. Defaults to the -20, so we'll just assume that we kicked the football off to our opponent and it was a touchback, and they're starting on the -20. If they did have a run back and they started somewhere else, you could enter that as the starting point for this series, and it would default as 1st and 10 as your starting point. So they come out of the huddle, and up in the game screen up here, I just punch in the formation. I find that easier than picking it from a list when I'm in a live game. So as they break out of the huddle, I'll punch in the formation that they line up in. And more often than not, if I've already broken them down the week before, then the formation will be already recognized and labeled, and it will be displayed in the grid below. As the play develops, I notice that they have some zoom motion. I can type that in there, or I can select it from my drop-down. Once again, most of the stuff will already be here because of my pre-game analysis that I've done a week before. The point of attack will be the numbering system for the running back through which hole. 33 trap or 28 sweep. We're going to simulate a 28 sweep on this play, so I can select 28 from here. But once again, to keep myself from typing in the grid and keeping the data entry moving very quickly, I just enter the 20 back. The ball was handed to the 20 back, and he ran to the 8 hole. Once again, it gets displayed in the grid, and it keeps me from typing in the grid and keeps me on a roll. The play type now is a sweep. Once again, it's probably part of my list, so I'll go ahead and select from my list, sweep. You'll notice that the personnel group automatically populates here as 21 personnel for 2 backs and 1 tight end based off of the formation I plugged in or I selected from the list. And we move on, and we can enter a defensive formation. We could put them on a hash, left, left middle, or right middle, wherever the ball may be. We specify whether the play was a running play or a passing play, or whether they kicked. And then we can put in the result of the play over here as well. We have some predefined results, and you can also type in your own results to be part of this list as well. So everything is entered into the play, and because I did my pre-game or my week prior breakdown of my opponent, the play was already recognized, and which means I only have to draw it up once. So if in my breakdowns in the past, I've already drawn up the play King Right Pro Zoom 28 sweep. I only need to draw that once, just that one time, and then any other time that I recall that play in any future breakdowns, TeamScout will automatically recall that play for me, so I don't have to redraw it. Okay, everything's entered for that play, so I move on to the next play. I do that by going back up to the top and adding the next down, add another down. As you can see, it'll default to the -20, but let's say they, after that 28 sweep, they got out to the 24-yard line. You can see the down and distance automatically populates and adjusts to 2nd and 6. They ran a 28 sweep, so they're probably on the right hash now. And you can see everything gets moved over to the right hash. So they break out of the huddle once again, and they line up in this formation here. Once again, preloaded formation automatically displays my terminology in the grid. Once again, they run some zoom motion as the play develops, but this time they run ISO strong or zone strong. So we'll call it 30 zone. 30 zone strong. So I enter the ball was handed to the 30 back into the 0 hole. I'll move over here. I'll type in the letter Z, and it'll bring up all of my plays in my drop-down list that start with Z. And as you can see, I have a few different zones and different plays. So there's my zone strong. I'll select it from the list, and there you have it. Once again, personnel group pops up. I'll put in a predefined defense against it and specify whether it's running or passing play. This is 30 zone, so it's a running play. You notice that no lines came up. For some reason, this might be a new play I haven't seen before. or I just haven't broken it down yet or drawn it up in my past breakdown. So this is a play that does not have a play card drawn for it. So at some point I'm going to need to go back and draw this play. I can go draw this play right now if I choose to. I would click the Edit Play button over here. It would bring me up to the play creation mode. And you can refer to the video that we have on our website called Create a Play to get a better understanding on how to draw a play in this particular mode. But for this segment of video, we're going to continue on with data entry. So everything's entered at this point, and we're going to move on to the next play. But before we do that, we're going to notice that our defense jumped offsides and there was a penalty. So I'm going to go to the results. I'm going to select offsides as a result for this play, and then I'm going to move over here where it says penalty and select penalty. A dialog box will ask you whether the down was lost, and since the defense jumped offsides, this would be a repeat of down and a gain of 5 yards. So the down was not lost. I will select no. And when I move on to this next play, you'll notice that it will repeat second down rather than move on to third down like it normally would behave. So I will add in the next down, and you'll see that it defaults to second down and 6. So we are repeating the prior down based off of that penalty, but now the line of scrimmage on the game film or in the live game has increased by 5 yards. So they are on the 29-yard line, and it is now 2nd and 1. So we can go ahead and start with whatever they ran on 2nd and 1. 2nd and 1's a situation. It's normally a gimme situation and normally a passing situation. So let's say they come out of the huddle, and sure enough, they're in a passing situation. Formation, and there it is. Already predefined. There it is in the grid. Dubs, flop, Y right in my terminology. And they go ahead and they run 90 double smash. All right, so I type in 90 for the point of attack. I type in S for smash, and there's all the plays that start with S, and there's smash. I select it from the list. 10 personnel gets automatically populated, 1 back, no tight ends. And I go ahead and from the top, and I go ahead and select my defense. And then I also select that it was a passing play. You'll notice that the zones pop up in the game screen window. I now need to specify what zones each receiver went to. So I've got double smash scheme on both sides. So my halfback, or actually this is my fullback, he ran the 7 route or the post corner, and my X receiver ran the curl. And on the other side, my Z ran the post corner, and my second X or my Y ran the curl. So now my zones are specified. If the play developed and the quarterback was able to throw the ball, I will now specify which receiver he threw the ball to. Let's say he threw it to the Z receiver. So it was thrown to the Z. You'll notice the Z zone gets highlighted. And if the ball was completed, I'll select complete and it'll turn the zone blue. Otherwise, I leave it alone and it'll keep it brown for an incomplete pass. So now the passing definitions have been entered so that later on we can get reports that will give us hot zone tendencies for passing game. All right, everything's done for that play. One more thing I want to point out before I move on is that prior play on row 2 is highlighted in red. And that was because the play card has not yet been drawn for that. And I'll select that, and as you can see, there's no play lines. So since the play card has no lines and anything drawn, I need to go back and do that. So as I get more rows developed in my game data, some plays will be recognized and they will not be highlighted in red, and some will be highlighted in red. That means now I can go back and quickly find out which plays I need to go back and draw up, and then not worry about the ones that are highlighted in red. And now I've got a complete play card package for every play in my breakdown. Okay, so that's everything that we've got. I've shown you how to enter penalties and everything else. So